Hey there, this is Kathleen, and I don't know how much, if this is your first time or multiple times uh, following me. I wanted to pop on here because it's been a very challenging 5 years, starting with 2020, and now it's the end of July of 25. And it is not easy standing up. It's not easy standing in honor. It is our duty to stand in honor and to right wrongs. When you see somebody doing something, it is your duty, your sacred duty to all mankind and to yourself and to Creator to speak up. This people pleasing is bullshit. It's plain and simple. It's just freaking evil. I'm gonna let injustice happen to those around me because I fear another equal. Your fear is what is controlling you, and we're supposed to have faith over fear. And when you start to just replace the, well, what am I truly afraid of, and you start asking yourself, is it true, is it real? I stood up. I worked at Pfizer. I started in 2020, January of 2020, and I stood up right away. I started asking questions and challenging them because it wasn't making sense. And I'm not here to say if you did take something, if you stuck something up your nose, if you wore a mask, it was a choice, or maybe it didn't feel like a choice. I am not here to debate that. For me, it was inside of me. It was my calling to not obey the false God and to call it out because of what I had been through my life, of the different challenges and the different ways that I had stood up, from abusive marriages, being having the shit beat out of me, and having their friends do, like, elite friends do stupid shit. Anyway, it seems very traumatic when you're going through it. I'm not here to downplay any of it, but you can choose to see differently once you get through it. And so I invite you to always look at things and see how maybe you can see them differently. So 2020, I started questioning. 21, it got heated as the pressure around the globe was like, oh, you must obey, I'm a false god. And, I've got this title, Nikki with global head of HR, or whatever the title was for you, right? And you must obey. And just, standing up back then, it was like, hey, yo, Nikki, where's your jurisdiction of my biological property and my biological material? Because last time I checked, only Creator has that. Those are things that I put in my filings. And, you're going to have to show me jurisdiction, that you have actual jurisdiction. And by the way, I don't think I have a contract with you. So can you produce that? And then can you show me that the invasive medical procedures that are tantamount to emotional, physical, and spiritual abuse, that, that they're safe and effective, and that so that I can make an informed decision. Those are things that I put in my filings. And I continue to stand up. Charts were pulled out. Charts showing that, the unshot were dying at alarming rates. I was like, where are you getting this information? I'm going to need the source and everything, because I cannot agree to your training without this information. So those charts were pulled. So that's that. So I was under an enormous amount of constant pressure and continuing to work as agreed, and being more like a Trojan horse within inside that realm, and really pushing it. And I lost friends. My family didn't back me. My sons were like, why can't you be like everyone else? And I'm like, it's just not in me to be like everyone else. I'm not a follower. And that doesn't come easy, because the path to hell is wide open. Everybody wants it. It's a party, right? And the path to right and honor, it's going to get big. I know that it will get bigger. It's by those that have stood up, and that, like yourself, most likely, if you're watching this, and what you've done to get here, to find this video, means that you are here to lead the way forward. You are here to be the change. And so I thought, right after all of the stuff happening in 23, for example, the general counsel of the division that I worked for, that I reported to, they had a required training, a COVID awareness training. And I don't agree. I don't agree that I should get it. And so I couldn't agree to the training, and I hadn't agreed. They had given me this training like 4 times before and never agreed. And all of a sudden, she got on her little high horse. New management had taken over Kadiva. The company that I worked for was sold twice in 1 year. You never hear of that. If you're a CEO or president and everything, you know that doesn't happen. And it was 25 or 26 emails within 5 days. You need to obey. You must obey this, that, and the other. And really like forceful. And do you want to have a call? I think that was offered on Thursday. And I was like, yes, please, let's have a call. And that call started very interesting. That's a whole nother story. Why I'm here now is because then what they did is they ended up going test-free, vax-free, and everything. Their policies had been changed. The requirements, the policies changed because I was standing up. I got let go, and no more did I let go than somebody that I had been divorced from for like 15 years. It decides to take me back to court after bragging about how much money he makes, knowing I was a corporate dropout at that point, 2 or 3 months in, because he wanted to fund college through support that he had agreed to give me. And so I found myself having to go to court, and I didn't comprehend why. This is our 3rd time in over 15 years to go into court. We had a private agreement in Chancery in another state, and it was trafficked into another state, from one state to another, and it was changed from Chancery into statutory. Our private agreement states that it deviates from statutory by agreement of the parties. It's a private agreement, and it states that it's by and between that man and I. And we filed together in Chancery. So that means it blocks other parties. A judge or somebody can only be an outside party. So what happened is when it was trafficked, this time I didn't hire an attorney because I didn't have the monies, quite frankly, and I have some knowledge. And I thought, I am a woman. I am living. I'm mindfully aware. When I stood up to Pfizer, it was because I used laws of nature and nature's God. I invoke laws of nature and nature's God. I invoke divine law. I invoke ecclesiastical jurisdiction. And I come from, we're all equal. And when you take a title, you're my servant. So are you my equal or are you my servant? Because you have to take your pick. Which one? You can't be both. You can't be dead and living at the same time. Anybody that has a title is acting as a dead person, whether that's your name or a title. I don't care if it's president, judge, it doesn't matter. A title is a servant. You're equal, living, or you're a servant. But our whole world has been flipped upside down to make us think that we're all dead and that we have to obey another equal because they have a title. And that's such bullshit. It's utter bullshit. So when I go to court, I invoke the laws of nature. Nature's God in an affidavit that stands as truth and law. It's unrebutted. And I have a lot of affidavits, all unrebutted. And what I discovered is the corruption that's happening in the clerk's office with the judges. The corruption is just oozing out. And it's not easy. It takes a lot of tenacity. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of research and knowledge to learn all this and to stand up to all of this. And I want to encourage everyone that you have a voice, and it's our duty to stand up. So I thought maybe it would help to read. So I have correspondence here that I sent. This is not a court filing. This is because I've done so many court filings, and now I'm heading into appellate court, and I've noticed so much corruption, fraud, forgery, and different things that I'm writing to 10 different men and women with titles and asking them to do an investigation. And like Illinois Court Commission's Office of General Counsel, the U.S. Treasury Inspector General, Lauren, U.S. Postal Inspection Services, man, Gary, for Chief Postal Inspections. I'm not going to say the states, but Judicial Performance Commission, Chief Counsel, another state, Chief Justice Office, Chief Justice for that state, a state comptroller, local, and an agent for the principal of defense, finance, and an accounting of DFAS for garnishment. And Mike Hordzowitz is the Office of Inspector General. Those are some of the people. I don't think I mentioned all of them, because you can't report a judge. You're never going to win. The bar associations got it locked down. They all protect each other on their lies and their deception, and they're not going to call each other out. It takes an outsider, somebody not pro se, because you're not pro se, you're living. Pro se is an entity. You're not a freaking entity. Learn who you are and who you're not. You're not a person. You're not a citizen. All these, 14th Amendment protects me, bullshit. It makes you an enslaved. Learn it, read it, comprehend what it says. It makes you a slave. Enslaved to all of us. Go to higher jurisdiction. There's land, air, and water. God gave us dominion over land, air, and water. And I'm not on land, and water is what we practice on. It's Maritime Admiralty, UCC, Universal Commercial Code. That's the court systems, and that's what we're operating on, especially if you're invoking your name. I am not my name, I am I. And so my filings and my presentments, I don't file, I present because I'm living. Sui juris, as they would say, living soul. I thought I'd do this in a couple parts and read you what I write. What I write is similar to what I write in notices when I write different notices and in some of my filings. You go sometimes outside the courtroom to find how else you can invoke and inspire men and women with titles and high roles to do what they're supposed to do, and that is to investigate. So this will be broken into 4. Woman Kathleen, clan of, and I say a last name, estate woman, and non-domestic, zip, exempt, and without United States. And I do it to a man, Michael Hordzowitz, who at times acts as agent with title of Inspector General for the Office of Inspector General for the Principal United States Department of Justice. So I'm calling them out as an agent because they're as an agent, and then you call out the principal. And I'll get to that in a moment. And then I do it to a woman, an agent for principal, what the title is, and then in other agents. Once equity, always equity. I, a woman, Kathleen, herein I define terms throughout all of mine. So each agent is defined and principal, as you'll discover. And then when I'm calling out certain roles, like a judge or an attorney or my ex or the clerk of the court, I give them a definition. So throughout it will always be the same. Legal ease is we, you, I, and all of that. I define I'm the only I in this. Just to help you with some contract basic law. So many people don't know the basic laws or contract principles, and legal ease is fraught with you not knowing who you are. So that's just a side note. Once equity, always equity. I, a woman, Kathleen, herein I am, living soul of sound mind, standing in honor and truth. I am a friend of all, an enemy to none. I act in peace, with respect for all living souls, and in full alignment with the laws of nature and nature's God, as invoked in all presentments for this matter. Each principle named herein is referred to separately and or collectively as principle. So I've defined it. Each agent named herein is referred to separately and or collectively as agent or agents. By each agent's own free will and choice, agents have assumed roles and titles acting for and on behalf of principles and in relation to the living souls of mankind. I trust this correspondence finds each agent and their families well and with clarity. So you're an agent with a title, but it's always for mankind. So when you're in a boardroom or you're in executive meetings and you're like, hey, yeah, let's put some poison in water or, food or make fake food, it harms mankind. oops, you just committed dishonor to mankind. That, I think, would weigh heavy with the powers that be. So back to my notice, my correspondence, excuse me. To each agent's duty is to uphold truth, equity, and the right conduct. All agents, civil magistrates, and men and women with title are to mirror the justice and the law of God on the earth, rewarding those who do good and restraining those who do harm. When an agent, magistrate, or man or woman with title advocates or enforces any rule or code contrary to the law of God and the unalienable rights of mankind, it is not only a duty of I, it is the right of I and all mankind to resist and reject such injustice and to uphold the higher laws. God's law is simple and true. Do no harm, stay in honor, always. I now give this correspondence and notice to each named agent and principal to urgently address the willful and intentional trespasses to I by way of harm, loss, extortion, dishonor, and denial of equity set forth herein. Let it be known, any presumption, presumed bar, obstacle, or denial of remedy, standing, or claim based on silence, presumption, or procedural fiction is hereby nullified. I do not accept joinder to any corporate fiction, nor do I consent to any act outside the bonds of truth, honor, and equity. I invoke, command, and retain all rights fully, immutable, and unalienable right to lawful remedy, restitution, claim, and redress, and so it is. I am woman, endowed by Creator, to whom I owe life, liberty, and the breath. Rights of I come not from statute, permission. Rights come from laws of nature and nature's God and the powers of the earth, ecclesiastical, divine, and equity laws, reason and internal principles written upon the heart. There is indeed a law, right reason, which is internal, unchangeable, and higher than any fiction or code made by man or institution. This law commands mankind to do what is right and forbids what is wrong. It applies to all mankind at all times without exception or repeal. An agent, principal, employer, court, school, agency, corporation, person, or entity, real or artificial, none can alter, override, or extinguish the dominion of the law of Creator. I am and always shall be of the living. I retain, reserve, and reclaim all rights for and of I. I give up none, and I delegate none ever. We delegate our rights often, not knowingly. This lawful correspondence is sent in good faith by I to address grave concerns involving fraud, dishonor, and jurisdictional overreach committed by agents acting under color of law in the ongoing matter. There's 3 case matters and 2 in different states, a lower court, appellate court, and a chancery court. Then I go on to name the characters, the bad actors. And that is it for this part. And then I go into this notice is not a legal pleading. It's just correspondence. So this is part 1. And hopefully this helps you to know that you have rights, to know that you can assert your rights, to know that you can go outside of the box. They like to box us in. And when you start breathing and start asking, like, really, is this fear? Of course it's fear. But I choose faith. And when I choose faith, I can see more options. I start breathing. I start moving my body. I start to see more options. And the more I see, I find more options. You can do that too. And follow along for part 2 and 3 and 4. Until next time, I hope you like and share and subscribe. And life is a game. Roll the dice and have some fun. Until next time.